So for this lesson, I wanted to focus in on strings. We touched on them last time, but we didn't really go in depth. They're really useful and powerful, so now's the time. A string literal is defined as a preset sequence of characters, which in day-to-day lingo is just text. And you can define a string literal by putting double quotes first, and then whatever text you care about. And then there's a double quote here. You can actually use tab in Xcode to autocomplete that for you. It doesn't really save you effort in this case, but in general, it's a powerful feature. We'll be using that a lot. And so now you have the string literal, okay? And you can assign it as a value to a variable. So var good text, say. Okay. To create an empty string literal, you just do two double quotes in succession. So like that. So if you were to assign this to good text, this would effectively replace that value in good text with an empty string. Some other operations, well, you can actually concatenate strings together. Say you had another string. You can actually add them together like this. And so you would have to erase this line that reset it before. So you can see that drag these out, you have a combination of those two together. You can also use plus equals as a way to shorthand concatenate something to itself. So this would basically do something very similar. And then you can add in and. So this basically does what the previous code tried to do, just with a little less verbiage. Some other things you can do are interpolation. So string interpolation is a way of adding in variable values into a string. So you have X. Let's use a little more interesting variable names. So say you have a number of apples and a number of oranges. And then you have some text of what is in my fridge. My fridge has, and now you can use backslash, open parentheses, variable name, to interpolate the variable values into that string. So my fridge has 5 and 6, and we should say apples and oranges. Another thing that can be useful sometimes is determining the length of a string. So how long is this string? Well, instead of trying to count it some other way, Swift provides a function for you called count. So you can just type in count, parentheses, and then the variable name. If you were to print that out, this would actually show up on your screen. Keep in mind, when you leave this playground, so I think we're ready to write our first little application. We'll stay in playground for now just because it's a little bit easier. Let's try writing a Mad Lib. I don't know if some of you are too young for this, but a Mad Lib is a story with a bunch of empty placeholder words in it. And the idea is that this is sort of a template that a user can then go in and fill in with random words by being prompted for those words. And you'll see what I mean in this example. So say we have a story template. Oh yeah, actually, interpolation is really what you want to use here. So you want to create a story. Let's create a little template that's very generic. Just want to use nouns, a couple nouns. Okay, let's say we define person 1, and these are all going to be strings, and person 2, 2 people, and then we just have a couple of different objects, adjective 1, adjective 2. Okay. And then verb 1. Okay, so to build this bad lib, we're actually going to go outside of Playgrounds and build our first application. iOS application. Just call it single view application for now. And say com run simulator pops up. So, and it gives you an empty screen. So we actually don't care about that right now. So for the time being, we don't really want any of that stuff. We'll just leave it in there and ignore it. And we'll just use the console basically. So this is like a really old school Mad Lib program, but this is where we're at right now. No problem. We'll pick up some skills quickly. And for this application, I want to go into the appdelegate.m. And don't worry too much about what all these files mean. Of course, we'll explain them later. And I want to go into this application, this did finish launching with options, this sort of block of text here, okay? And here, right after it says override point for customization after application launch. So this is where we're going to insert our own code temporarily, our Mad Libs code. Say we have person 1. Oh, that's true. Go to the app delegate right here. Yes. Suffice it to say, for our purposes now, our program is going to start right here, the code we care about. Okay, we're kind of hijacking this framework that they're using for building apps for building a much more primitive application of our own that just prints to the console and receives input from the console. It's just because we don't really know a whole lot else right now.